Level 1. The Kid with Plastic Soldiers. Right now, somewhere in your house, there's a small green plastic soldier missing an arm. You don't remember which battle took it. You just remember that he kept fighting anyway. Before any of this was real, it was carpet and sunlight, and a war you got to win every single time. You lined them up along the edge of the rug. Rifleman first, then the radio man, then the one with the missing arm who somehow always survived. Outside, your dad mowed the lawn and didn't know you were running an entire invasion 6 feet from his ankles. You didn't know what any of it meant yet. You just knew soldiers were the ones who didn't run, the ones who stood in a line and didn't flinch when the couch cushion came down like an airstrike. Your hero wasn't a person. He was a shape, green, still, 3 inches tall, and somehow braver than you'd ever been about anything. Nobody told you yet what a uniform actually weighs. Nobody told you about the paperwork, the waiting rooms, the years between today and any of it being real. You just knew, with the absolute certainty only a kid can have, that someday you'd be the one standing in that line. You folded the soldier's good arm against his chest, set him at the front of the formation, and went inside for dinner. He'd still be there in the morning. That was the whole point of him. Level 2. The Recruiter's Office. The office smells like carpet cleaner and old coffee, and there's a poster on the wall promising you a version of yourself you haven't met yet. You're older now. Old enough that the decision is actually yours, which is somehow scarier than anyone made it sound. The recruiter across the desk has answers ready before you've finished the questions. He's done this 1,000 times. You are one of well over 1 million people across the country who'll sign that same kind of paper this decade. But right now, it doesn't feel statistical. It feels like the only real decision you've ever made on purpose. Your mom waits in the car outside. She didn't say much on the drive over. You both know why. You sign where he points. The pen feels lighter than it should for something this heavy. Nobody hands you a green plastic figure on your way out. Just a folder, a date, and a number to call if you change your mind. You don't call it. Outside, the parking lot looks exactly the same as it did an hour ago. You don't, though. Somewhere between the chair and the door, you stopped being the kid who played soldier and became someone with an actual date circled on an actual calendar. It doesn't feel like winning yet. It just feels real. Level 3. The Recruit. 10 weeks. That's how long they have to take you apart and rebuild you into something that moves on command. Nobody warns you about the cold concrete at 4:30 in the morning, or how fast a stranger becomes the only person who understands what you're going through. Your bunkmate snores. You don't sleep enough to care. The drill sergeant doesn't yell because he's angry. He yells because panic, repeated enough times, eventually turns into instinct. You don't understand that yet. You just know your name isn't really your name anymore. It's your last name, barked across a yard, attached to whatever you did wrong in the last 30 seconds. You drop your weapon once during drill. Just once. You will never, for the rest of your life, drop it again. Somewhere in week 6, something shifts. Your body stops fighting the schedule. Your hands stop shaking before the run. You catch yourself moving in step with 20 other people without thinking about it. And for 1 second, standing in formation in the dark, you almost remember what it felt like lining up soldiers on a carpet. Except this time, you're the one in the line. Level 4. The Graduation. Somewhere between 9 and 15% of the people who started this with you didn't make it to today. You think about that for exactly as long as it takes the band to start playing, and then you stop because today isn't about who left. Your family is in the stands wearing the kind of stiff, proud expression people only have for about 4 hours of their entire lives. Your mom is crying before you've even marched into formation. You haven't seen her cry like that since the day at the recruiter's office, except this time it's a different kind of tears. You're not the same shape you were 10 weeks ago. Your hands don't shake. Your back is straighter than you ever taught it to be. Somebody calls your name and your new rank in the same breath, and for half a second it doesn't sound like it's talking about you at all. You find your family afterward in the crowd. Your mom hugs you like she's checking you're still made of the same material. You are. You're just denser now. Level 5. The first deployment. Your first deployment isn't the one from the movies. There's no dramatic horizon, no music swelling behind you. There's a flight, a different time zone, and a bunk that smells like someone else's 9 months before yours. You call home on a satellite delay that makes every conversation feel half a second too slow, like you and the people you love are speaking across more than distance. You write actual letters too, because there's something about handwriting that survives a bad connection. The work is mostly waiting, punctuated by moments that matter more than you expected. You learn the names of people you'll remember for the rest of your life within about a week. You learn what an MRE tastes like on day 40, which is worse than day 1 and somehow also better, because by then you've stopped expecting it to taste like food. Nothing here looks like the green plastic men on the carpet. But for the first time, you understand what they were standing for. They just couldn't tell you yet. Level 6. The first real deployment. This one is different, and everyone who's been through it tries to warn you in the same useless way. By saying almost nothing at all. The gear is heavier this time, or maybe you just notice the weight differently. A standard combat load runs close to 90 pounds once everything's strapped on, and somewhere around hour 6 of carrying it, you stop thinking of it as equipment and start thinking of it as part of your body. You make decisions out here that don't have a wrong or right version waiting in a manual. You learn that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's doing the job anyway, hands shaking, because the person next to you is counting on you to. You lose someone, not in this telling. That part isn't for a story like this one, but you carry it forward anyway, the way everyone who's been here does. Quietly, permanently, like a name you say less often, but never actually let go of. Level 7. The elite operator. At some point, you stop being someone who follows orders well and become someone other people study to learn how. Nobody announces the moment. You just notice one day that the newer guys go quiet when you start talking. You get picked for something harder, a selection course, a specialty, the kind of training that exists specifically to find the edge of what you can take and then ask for a little more. You don't pass because you're the strongest person there. You pass because you're the last one still moving when being strong stopped being enough. It changes how you carry yourself. Not louder, quieter, actually. The kind of quiet that comes from already knowing you can handle whatever's next. You used to imagine this version of yourself with a uniform full of medals. Turns out, it mostly just looks like calm. Level 8. The long tour. 9 months is a long time to be gone and a strange amount of time to come home to. Birthdays happen without you. A niece learns to walk during a single deployment and forgets, by the time you're back, that she ever didn't know how. You count days the way other people count money, carefully and a little obsessively, because the number is the only thing that's actually moving. The work doesn't get easier, you just get better at carrying it without showing it. Somewhere around month 7, you stop crossing days off a calendar and start just living inside the number, because watching it shrink too closely makes the wait feel longer, not shorter. You learn patience you didn't know you had. You also learn exactly how much of your old life you can survive missing. Level 9. The veteran. You're the one the new ones look at now, the way you used to look at the soldiers who seemed to already know everything. You didn't realize how much you'd absorbed until you started repeating it. Your old sergeant's exact words, in your own voice, to someone who's exactly as scared as you were. You don't yell the way he did. You don't have to. You've learned that most of what looked like toughness back then was actually just someone trying to keep you alive in the fastest way they knew how. Somewhere along the way, this stopped being about the uniform and started being about the people standing next to you in it. That part, nobody warns you about either. It's the part that stays. Singze Level 10. Vis Ul Circle. Right now, somewhere in your house, there's a small green plastic soldier missing an arm, except this time, it's not yours. Your kid lines them up along the edge of the rug exactly the way you did, rifleman first, like something about the order is instinctive even when nobody taught it. You sit on the couch and watch an entire invasion happen 6 feet from your ankles And you don't say anything because some things you're not ready to explain yet, and some things you don't need to. You know what that uniform actually weighs now. You know what the line really costs, and what it gives back. But you let the soldier with the missing arm keep fighting anyway, because that was always the whole point of him. Not the war he's fighting, but the kid who refuses to let him lose. You fold his good arm against his chest, the same way you always did, and for one quiet second, you're both standing in the same formation.